Henshin a go baby. What's good, guys? Yoku here, and hold on. I needed a juvie. Now today is the day that we actually get to talk about Topaz and my first impressions, and I'm sure a lot of you have been like myself who've seen nothing but Topaz slander. Now I didn't contribute to this, but I did contribute to the conversations had pertaining to Topaz and whether or not she was going to be considered mid pass or goat pass. I don't know what to call like a really good Topaz. So fat ass. That don't cancel me, bro. All in all, a number of people, a number of creators, players, Reddit forums, you name it, have all been talking about the fact that Topaz was just going to be mid. She was not going to be strong, and any character that wasn't doing Jingliu or Imbibe de Lune levels of damage was going to be bad. And I called it. I told you guys that was going to happen. I said the moment they release a DPS character or a character that is under a DPS type path that does not do the same levels of damage that these other two characters do, we have now entered the bad part of power creep. And it doesn't even mean that like, oh yeah, Topaz power creep so and so. No. We are now at a stage in the game where if a character doesn't output a stupid amount of damage, you have a large majority of players, no shade to MTash at all, but I've seen the videos and it is quite literally bar for bar what I've been saying. Why would I pull Topaz when I could have pulled Jingliu? I could save for Blade, I could pick up Zila, I could wait for Imbibe de Lune, and these characters will give me XYZ guaranteed damage. I'm here to tell you that fortunately, everybody else is wrong. Now, I know that sounds a little conceited, but hear me out. What I'm going at is that Topaz is a character who did take me a long time, a lot of time for me to really get familiar with how this character should or should not be played, what she's really looking for in a team or a teammate, and how she actually brings a lot of value to any one given team. Admittedly, this does come at a high cost. I consider Topaz a high investment character. Yes, there might be some situations where you could force her into a hyper carry scenario and she'll do very well, very consistent damage with Bronya Pela or Tingyun Pela, Bronya Tingyun, whatever. But I think that goes for any of our DPS characters. We can force them into a hyper carry scenario. In Topaz's case, she's much more efficient, or rather her optimal team would consist of another DPS character, preferably someone who's using follow-up attacks. And throughout my testing and with the limited available characters in the game, I've come down to three consistent characters. Well, two consistent characters, but whatever. Point being is there's three: Himiko, Clara, Kafka. These three characters currently in the game are the characters to be playing with Topaz. Each of them offer her something that they want, i.e. follow-up attacks, and in return, she offers them something that they can all take advantage of. Now, in Kafka's case, it's a little different. Kafka, you do require a Kritka build, if I'm not mistaken, because in that case, you're just getting the maximum amount of damage that you could be receiving, as well as a DOT character, which then you're stacking vulnerabilities on top of another. It's a wonderful feeling. But overall, my impressions for this character, I would genuinely have to say I'm pleased. I'm the word impressed. I am pleased with Topaz so far. Topaz has been someone that I've had a lot of fun with. And even here, you know what? Let me show you guys my Topaz. So right now, you guys should be able to see everything that I have going on with my particular Topaz. And you can see that her attack is almost 2K, her HP is almost 3K, and her defense is already over 1,000. So this is pretty standard for any type of one DPS character. Obviously, my attack needs to be higher, but my speed is 137, which puts me very much over my usual 134, 135 bracket, and I still have room to grow. My crit rate is already over 52% without any external factors, and my crit damage is at 171%. You want to know something cool about my Topaz? My relics are not maxed out and my traces are not maxed out. I haven't even gotten all of my crit rate. I'm still missing the other 12%, or not the other 12%, but I'm missing my my 8% or so, right? Or my 9% from the crit rate, which would turn that 50, was that 52 that I had? It'll turn the 52 into a 61 or 60%, which would be awesome. So there's a lot of room for my Topaz to grow, as well as my talent levels, my trace level, and my ultimate levels, all of, or skill level, my bad, all of the stuff, the fire damage boost, everything about Topaz so far, it can be increased. My crit damage, I need a better crit damage body piece, you know, little things like that, right? This of course is still farming. Now, me personally, what I wanted to do was I wanted to find the best way possible to get two piece, and then the inert without needing to, and this is for my Himiko, without needing to go and farm anymore. I don't want to farm any more of the relics. The reason I don't want to farm any more of the relics for this character in particular is because well, I won't say it, but we know, okay? We all know what's coming in the next couple of patches here, 1.5 or so, whenever they decide to drop that. And there's no point. What I want to talk about in regards to how powerful this character is going to become is respectfully the future investment. Topaz will not be a character for everybody. If you don't care about follow-up attacking characters, in this case being possibly Jing Yuan, Kafka, Himiko, and I don't have Clara on this account, but Clara can count as well. To my knowledge, I believe there is another character coming out that should be a supportive character that also has follow-up attacks. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm not super aware of what this character is. I'm just repeating the information that some of you have kindly let me know inside of my comment section from the previous videos. If that is the case, and if this character hypothetically buffs or heals or anything of that sort, that not only gives Topaz another character to help accelerate her damage potential or her damage output, but it also gives her a character that could fall under the role of sustain or buffing for the entire team. So now you get a situation where potentially you could have Topaz, you could have Himiko, and you could also have this magical support character. We'll use Fu Xuan as a placeholder for now. You could have this magical support character. So now you're getting consistent follow-up attacks possibly directed. You're getting Topaz, who is going to increase the damage of follow-up attacks, not only for herself, but for everybody on the team. And she's also increasing the crit damage they receive on top of that. That's a big reason why I mentioned that the Kritka build, which you can see, I don't have that at all. The Kritka build is going to be a very viable build. And in fact, I do believe Kritka is the final form of Kafka. I think Kafka having a lot of attack and then focusing on DOTs and being able to pop those, wonderful. I think if you're somehow able to keep a high amount of speed, this is the perfect build, by the way, a high amount of speed, high attack, and then a good crit rate, at least 50%, as well as a high amount of crit damage, so somewhere around like 120, 140, then you're going to be really strong. You're going to have a really strong Kafka, again, increasing this from Topaz. Now, something that I went over in my guide and something that you may or may not know this, right? Topaz has some cool things in her kit. If I can find it here, it's somewhere it increases the crit damage. There we go. So she's going to naturally increase the crit damage as well as the damage multiplier applied to whatever's going on to the enemy. Her skill is also going to be doing the same thing. And then, of course, she gets a bunch of other stuff. Now, I went a step further. You can actually see it down here if you know what this part is, future market, and then all of this at the bottom. I went a step further with my particular Topaz because I saw a lot of value in this character. And originally, let me make that clear, originally I did not. When I first got my hands on Topaz and I tested her, Topaz was that character where I'm like, this character's ass. Like, quite literally, those are my exact words. I said she was going to be another genuine, if not worse, and I was going to be severely disappointed. Come to find out, I gave her some more time. I kept playing. I kept testing out different team formats that I was not familiar with. We're all used to hyper carry or standard, which will be, you know, main DPS character, harmony, nihility, and then your support or sustain, whatever it is, or even sometimes 2 supports and then 1 sustain, whatever. I wasn't used to running the double DPS comp specifically to enable what Topaz is capable of. I'm used to doing that with Kafka, having a sub DPS like Sushong or Luca or Sampo, someone that can help with the DOT while also having a high amount of attack, but not with Topaz. Topaz naturally debuffs the enemy. She applies these vulnerabilities that help Numbi, but they also help for follow-up attackers. Her Lightcone, if you happen to get this, also increases her own damage for follow-up attacks, increases her crit rate, and has the tame state, which when it doubles, you're going to be able to give 24% extra crit damage, or rather the enemy will receive 24% extra crit damage. And then of course you get into the eidolon. Now this is something that we shot for yesterday on stream. It was, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro, this, we got cucked again. You may or may not see the pool video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. But future market, when enemies afflicted with proof of dead receive follow-up attacks, they will enter the debtor state. The debtor state basically takes the tame state, multiplies it by even more. So it increases the crit damage of follow-up attacks inflicted on the target enemies by 25%, stacking up to 2 times. So this turns the previous tame state, which was giving you, roughly speaking, let's just round it out to 25%. And then this gives you 2 more stacks. This is 75% extra crit damage being applied to any one enemy with the proof of dead. And some of you might be like, oh, well, proof of dead is only single target, so that's ass because the game has a bunch of AoE and blah, 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 blah. Listen, I don't care. The way that I look at this is strictly she is a single target character. If Numbi can eliminate characters at the speed of Zila, if not faster, consistently, that's all that matters. Being able to apply this debuff, because it's not something that, oh yeah, she needs to attack them twice and then they get it. No, when you build this team properly with follow-up characters, so we'll use Kafka, and I might give you guys a quick example just to show you. When you play this team with Kafka as well as Topaz, it immediately stacks. It immediately stacks. There's so many different things that you can do with this character. Maybe I shouldn't say so many different things, but I think the way that it works for this character in particular allows you to really see what's going on. I need some hunt traces, so I'm just gonna run this real quick. So essentially what'll happen here, you know Kafka, how Kafka's follow-up attack works. Someone uses a basic attack and then she follows up with it after that. In this case, we're gonna go for that. Now the debtor state is already on him. Because the debtor state is already on him, I'm gonna do a follow-up attack. Numby starts with 50% advanced forward already, like he's already here, ready to go. I click it again, 50% advanced forward. Now it's his turn again. What will happen though is Kafka's will trigger. So there's little things that you can do to not do this, or rather how you want to go about playing her. Bronya E4, I don't have one, but Moon does. And so whale or not, those that have an E4 Bronya also have the ability to do this. So not only will E4 Bronya users have the ability to initiate what I'm about to show you, but their combo for this is double. So how this would essentially work, I would use the skill and then boom, that happens. Now I would use a basic attack. And then since he has the debtor state, bada bing bop, Kafka goes, and you see right over there on the left, you saw Numby jumped up. And so now what happens if you have someone else who also has a follow-up attack on the team, i.e. the support that I magically talked about, that would essentially bump Numby up again. In the case of Bronya, what happens is that Bronya is able to use her skill. Anyone who uses the skill after that with the basic attack, boom, they come up. So in this case, like Numby, Numby does basic, bam, that counts as a follow-up and a basic. And then Bronya will do her follow-up attack, boom, brings him up. But you didn't have to use Bronya's basic attack at all. All you had to use her skill. So you're constantly bringing them up. For as fast as Kafka and Topaz are, that's essentially how fast Numby can be. As fast as Bronya and Topaz would be, that's as fast as Numby can be, and you multiply it. When I played on Moon's account yesterday on stream, we were able to get, what was it? Numby was able to go 2-4, I think about 3 times, right? So it would be Topaz and then Bronya, Numby goes, and then she brings him up again. Topaz, Numby, or Topaz, Bronya, Bronya goes. The others on the team, because Bonanza State would give you Bonanza State. Bonanza State takes away the follow-up requirement so that anyone gets hit, you hit the proof of death, they go, which would then trigger that another time, so they'd go again, and then it just repeats the process. Depending on how fast that team is, depends on how much they can go per that turn. So there's a lot that goes into Topaz's kit. Topaz is easily one of these characters where I can 100% see her only going up. Topaz and Kafka, the best way that I could explain this, and I'm gonna leave this on auto so it can just run out after this point. Topaz and Kafka are the type of characters who will 100% only go up. They cannot go down. You cannot move these characters down. They stay where they are and they only go up. In my opinion, Kafka is an S tier character. I don't care if it's single target. I don't care if it's blast damage, AoE, whatever. The capabilities, the potential of Kafka by herself, S tier character. Topaz is now there with Kafka because in the event they release a direct follow-up attacker, they release the support with follow-up attacks, anything like that, Topaz goes up. The entire point of like this first impressions, I'm thoroughly pleased with this character. And in the future, when we get more of whatever can boost this character, when I can actually build out the rest of my Topaz, I will be even more pleased with her. The damage that Topaz is able to output, I'm okay with that. I don't need Topaz to output so much damage that she becomes the only DPS character on the team, because then I lose the functionality of Numby. If I'm not able to actually trigger Numby a multitude of times, 3 times per cycle, 4 times per cycle, whatever amount that it is, I'm very much bothered by that. I don't like the idea of not being able to do that, including follow-up attacking characters into that team. So in this case, Himiko does that, which it kind of sucks for Himiko because you have to break and you're not really consistently getting it. But in MOC with the bosses and they summon the mobs, you're able to do that with the mobs and then she can break them. Or if you break the main thing, he gets to 3 and then follow-up attack goes after that. It works a little bit like that. And in Clara's case, Clara, we know how Clara works. She gets hit, she shoots it off. She gets hit, she shoots it off. You have Clara's ult, everybody gets hit, doesn't matter who has proof of death because they're all going to take the damage. Numby comes out, does his thing. So there's a lot that goes into this. If you guys can't tell, Juvie or not, I'm very excited about this character. and what she'll bring. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding of how Topaz and Numby will affect the future content or the future meta for Honkai Star Rail. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that they're going to become, oh yeah, she's going to be the best DPS in the game and blah, 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 blah. But I do think that there's a huge misconception going around right now that Topaz is ass. Like she's mid-pass. She's not worth it. I got tons of comments about this. I've seen a number of videos going over this, explaining or elaborating their opinions that Topaz is just not worth it. It's better to pull for hypothetically Argenti or anything of the sort. Oh yeah, just pick up a support instead of Topaz, or use double supports instead of Topaz. You could use double supports instead of Topaz, but to be frank, I'm just bored of that. I think that is easily one of the most boring play styles in the game, to just hyper buff one DPS character just for them to not do their function. In Zila's case, it makes so much more sense because her function is to snowball. In Topaz's case, her whole kit is built around follow-up attacks. Why would I remove that just to give her like 50k more damage when my other character could just do the 50? You know what I mean? It's just, it feels a little bit more efficient, a little bit more optimal, but who knows? Maybe that's not the case. For me, most damaging does not always equal most optimal. I'll leave that with you guys. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, watch my guide video because I would love for that to blow up. Smell you later.